All right. Resume our regular meeting for April 22nd, 2026. Moving on from delegations on to item number 8, unfinished business and business arising from the minutes. So, moving on to number 8.1, Bill 17 Housing and Municipal Affairs Statutes Code of Conduct Amendment Act for 2026 for discussion. Can I get a seconder?
Just, I can't recall when you were going to jump back.
We're doing that before the council reports.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yes, you're welcome. Can I get a seconder for discussion for 8.1? Councillor Johnson, thank you. Floor is yours, gentlemen. I know quite a few of you had a few questions that you wanted to ask, so. Yes.
So, in the report there, well, in the actual document, it, I'm really not a fan of it. I think it would be, it's an overreach from the province. Like, we already have our own code of conduct. It makes sense to make sure that municipalities have similar codes of conduct. I have no issue with that. A standard framework and standard rules to play by, I totally get. But there is overreaching things that have nothing to do with the code of conduct that's a part of this legislation. That's, I don't know what the best way to do, because I sent a letter in opposition, but then that's regular staff time. That's a bunch of other stuff too, and they're just gonna go ahead and do it anyways.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. I think that we've definitely, even in the past 10 years, we've seen some very interesting challenges faced by many municipalities, including our own, between us, and there was Kamloops. They've been having problems. And so I think the province is really trying to, you're right, blanket a lot of the issues into one sort of code of conduct, which is very difficult. We are working with people. People are very interesting and difficult all on their own. Then you add people into positions of authority and representing an entire community. And sometimes those interesting dynamics can create some pretty interesting and volatile clashes. And so I definitely understand why the government has gone in this direction. I do agree. I think it's a bit sad that we have to go here. Yes, that's it.
Well, it's one of those things, like I said, like I voiced my opinion on this last time we had it up. But one of the other things, like with the overreach, I think the other thing too is once this actually gets done, oftentimes you're going to have some municipalities or some people that are going to get hit with this that are going to challenge it in court, right? And then once you see court challenges come up, I think you'll see this flush out a little bit better. Right, but like you said, we can have staff spend their time writing a letter opposing it. They're just going to implement it and cram it down our throats anyway. And I think the thing to watch is to see where, when this actually does get used, is the court challenges on it. The other thing I'd be quite interested in, and again, it's one of those make work projects for staff down the road if they ever get around to it, is something actually I should is actually look at the differences between our code of conduct and see what the vast differences are between our code of conduct and the provinces. Because when I did glance through, there was quite a few similarities. And I know when we wrote our code of conduct, we had a bit of input from the province and some consultation on what should be in there. Because even back then, a couple of years ago when we did it, the province was looking at this legislation because of the way elected officials have been, conducting themselves. Right? So I agree with you, there is some overreach, but at the same time, I don't think it's worth, at this point in time, putting our staff's time and effort into it. But I would be interested to see, like, when the province does actually implement this and see some court challenges on the potential overreach.
Councillor Rebel?
I'm fine with codes of conduct, but I'm not fine with an undemocratic overreach. So, here, in 113.12, sanctions that may be recommended by the 7, page 82 of our council, and then 84. 82 and 84 are the pages of our council meeting I'm referring to here. 113.12H, this can be recommended by the investigator. So saying a complaint is lodged by a member of the council or a member of the public. Then an investigation occurs, investigator comes up with a report. H, a suspension without remuneration from duties on council for up to 90 days. That's in there, that's actually in there. And then it comes to the decision of council, And then we go to 113.13, 5. A motion on a resolution under subsection 4 is decided by the majority of council members present at the meeting, excluding the respondent, and if the complainant is a council member, the complainant. 6. The parties must not be present at the meeting during the vote on a motion referred to in subsection 5. 7. If, due to the investigation of one or more council members, the number of the members of council is reduced to less than a quorum, the minister may A. Order that the remaining members of the council constitute a quorum for the purpose of the vote on the motion referred to in subsection 5, or B. Appoint a person to decide whether to impose the recommended sanctions. That there, folks, is a power that would be imbued to the minister to directly override this democratic body and suspend a member or multiple members of this body.
On any reason they deem fit.
Yes, Councillor Wu.
That's
I believe under our current Village of Goose Goofy's code of conduct, there is remediation in there, right? So we can be hit with, financial fines if we breach that code of conduct. There is an investigation process, so a lot of that's in there. The minister already has the authority to waive quorum. It's happened for this council before.
Yeah.
The previous council before Mayor Beach and I got elected in the by-election actually had a provision for them because of quorum with 2 members resigning from council. So the minister already has that authority. I think so some of that's getting consolidated into this, but some of the stuff they do talk about in there is actually covered within our own code of conduct as well. So just
Yes, Councillor.
I believe the concern that Councillor Rabel is bringing up is the same concern I have, which is that for any reason, it doesn't matter if it's the code of conduct, it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you do. If the minister doesn't like you, for any reason, he can suspend you and remove your democratic vote, or anyone around the table. He could suspend everyone on a council because he doesn't like what you're advocating for or against or what's going on, and appoint someone else to do that in your place.
so my understanding,
It's not democracy.
but to my understanding, that's based off the auditor's report or the investigation report.
That is while the investigation is taking place.
The person suspended. Well, it's a lot of corporate places while you're doing an HR investigation, because essentially that's what you're finding.
But it doesn't matter if it's an investigation regarding anything. It just matters if the minister starts an investigation and you're out. That's it. And he doesn't need to give a reason, and it doesn't have to do with the code of conduct. That's the problem.
Where does it?
I don't believe that sequence of events is quite reflected in here. I think there's,
No, I don't see that either.
I think that there is some genuine awkwardness. Just forgive me to jump back to Councillor Rabel's comment there. There is some genuine awkwardness in dispensing with complaints with an elected body in relation to a traditional, HR environment. Also considering how awkward it gets for individuals that are parties to a complaint or, relevant to a complaint to also make, ruling or a decision on that complaint can get pretty awkward sometimes. So constituting a different quorum, I think, is a tool in there to try to help councils make a decision and preserve, a little bit of, integrity, I suppose, or shield some people from, that decision. So there's some awkwardness in it for sure. I think it's a tool to help preserve integrity, to help council make that decision in the event that there is a report that's filed and there are recommendations that are made. So, if this person's empowered to make the decisions on the recommendations that are identified in the report. Is kind of the way that I read it, but I can see your point too, because there's a natural tension here between, democracy and, making sure that the elected representatives are able to, hold each other to account. That's been a system for, a couple of decades. In the 90s, there was an investigator of municipal affairs or municipal inspector of some kind. And, this legislation definitely constitutes a swing back towards, a little bit more direct, for lack of better words, performance management of elected officials, partly brought out to be, some of the, issues that have been widely publicized over the last few years. So it's definitely a swing.
Yes, Councillor Wolf.
Another concern I have is under section 113.16. Every year, this would require our staff to prepare an annual code of conduct report, make that report publicly available, and release the number of complaints filed, the number of complaints withdrawn, the nature of the complaints, the number of complaints dismissed, the number of complaints dismissed under a different section, the number of complaints resolved, the number of investigations conducted, and the number of each sanction list, and the numbers of each sanction listed, and who's involved with them. Now, these are a bunch of things that I think would take up a lot of staff time and create confusion and confidentiality issues if there were things going on.
Yeah, I'm just, the nice thing about that though is it would definitely, I don't know if in this municipality, but I've definitely seen in others where the code of conduct and complaint process has been weaponized against people. And so I think that this would actually hold people accountable to the complaints that they're making as well.
Oh, of course.
Which is kind of one of the nice things about it, right? Is that like, if you're gonna be making a complaint, it better not be over something petty. This is going to be a public thing, so you're going to look like a petty person if your complaint is he looked at me the wrong way, or she pointed at me with her pen, or right? Because I have heard of that. That's actually happening in the province currently, and it's mind-boggling to me. Yes.
So I got two perspectives on this one. Like, I, as being somebody on this council that has in past years and past times been in that position where I've had to, potentially head up investigations or authorize investigations into this or that, right, without getting into too many details. I actually really like that because, one, that forces the complainant to be accountable, right?
Yeah,
because it's going to become public. The other thing is then this stuff can't be then councils can't be accused of, they just dealt with it behind closed doors, right? It's a whole nother level of accountability to the people that occupy these seats, to their electors, right? The people that put us and elect us into this. There's BS that happens in the background that people speculate about, and this person said this and this person said this. This will bring some of it to the forefront and actually hold people accountable, right? Not only on the complaint end of things, but also on the receiving end. Because if I complain against Councillor Johnston 37 times and nobody ever knows about it, and he's not conducting himself accordingly, there's no way for me for that to be open to the public to know who they're voting for, right? Or at the same time, if I'm petty as hell and I'm constantly bringing frivolous things apart, then it also shows that as well, and it shows that accountability and maturity, maturity and accountability to the voters, right? And that's one of the things a lot of us ran on and that we looked at when we got in these seats was accountability, right, to the community and to our staff. And this body, we made decisions even 2 weeks ago to release some documentation to our staff to show that we're accountable and how we want to improve things and how things are going. So we can't sit there and do that on one hand and then 2 weeks later say, well, actually, and this actually goes to the public that vote for us and say, we don't like this. So I actually do like that because I feel it gives some protection on both sides and brings that clarity and transparency that a lot of elected officials get accused of just shuffling under the table, because under the community charter, there's certain things that we can make private.
Well, they have
That have to be private, and there is a way to allow that information to come out without violating people's personal rights. But at the same time, when we sign that piece of paper, when we run for these seats, we're also knowingly and willingly giving up a little bit of our privacy or autonomy as elected officials. We're opening ourselves up to that potential level of scrutiny and that level of decorum that we should be holding, and this helps hold people accountable.
I wish the province and the provincial government would practice what they preach and do this for themselves.
I agree with you there.
100%.
Councillor Rabble, thank you so much for being patient.
I believe that folks that hold public office must be held to a higher standard, always. I believe that a code of conduct system, as imperfect as it may be, because unfortunately, there may never be full justice at the end of the day, especially for issues of morality and conduct. They're very human and subjective. There is not always the most perfect resolution. I'm not against a code of conduct. We have one, for goodness sakes. What I'm against, and what I'm trying to be specific with, my attempt to be specific here, is that I believe the province is overreaching, that the minister will be assigned specific, detrimental, anti-democratic powers to proceed with an investigation through an investigator. What I'm saying is, You always design the law to protect democracy. That's what our charter is very specific about in a free and democratic society. I have great issue specifically in Bill 17 with 113.13 with 7B, appoint a person to decide whether to impose the recommended sanction, to override this body completely if this minister so decides. That is what I'm being specific with. And that it continues with 113.14, where if you quit, it's gone. Don't worry. So you always design the law to protect regardless of who's in authority, right? Because everybody comes and goes. I think that we should be very conscientious of this. Don't dare give an inch to erode democracy, because you'll be surprised at how an inch can open the door, right? That is why I am so hell-bent on this specific matter. That's why I'm being very specific with the exact piece in the legislation I agree with. And also 113.12H, a suspension without remuneration from duties on council for up to 90 days. Or I, a prescribed sanction. An investigator has a prescribed sanction. The minister can appoint a person to issue that sanction against that member. Could be a full suspension. So what I'm saying is this opens the door tremendously. That is why I'm saying we should be conscious of it. And this is a matter of morality and subjectivity, right? So we must be very cautious. If you commit a crime, there's the criminal code. We're not talking about crimes here. We're not talking about horrible, like nefarious things, embezzlement, assigning contracts to each other, that kind of junk. That's crimes. We're talking about interpersonal stuff, right? Which is very subjective. And other things, statements, expressions that we make within this body could be deemed to be offensive or this, that, of that nature.
As you speak out against the provincial government, and these sanctions are not directly tied to the code of conduct that they're in. These sanctions are up to the minister to put in.
Councilor Little?
Just out of curiosity, this is more for staff, does not the Ministry of Municipal Affairs already have the authority, if there's gross conduct or negligence within a municipality, to step in and exercise its authority to take over that municipality anyway and temporarily suspend councils?
It's rare, but there is a provision in the charter that you can have a council hired and have a, what is it called?
Administrator appointed.
So really, it's already in legislation that they can do it. This is just giving it different teeth, right? I don't get me wrong, I agree with you, it is an overreach. But the reality is that overreach already exists and has for some time. It's just they're changing the wording of it and which legislation it's in, essentially, right?
But they're not tying it to
there.
No, it's not.
They're tying it to whatever the minister says.
And building on your guys' point, the other thing that runs in with it coming from the ministry is if they do allow political parties to start running candidates in the next election, well, what if you get a council that's an entirely conservative council and flies the conservative banner and you have an NDP government every time now?
And they kick you out every time you vote.
Right, so it does open the door for some political screwery, we'll say. It's a nice way to put it. But at the same time, again, I don't honestly think, like if members of this board were wanting to write a letter and bring it back to us for support, I think that's one thing, and I would support that. But I don't honestly think that we should have spend any staff time writing a letter of opposition towards this.
Yeah, so basically what I honestly feel that we could probably debate this all night, right? And so I'm really looking for if there's any direction for staff from this council, or if at this point in time, individuals would like to go off, think about it and come back. But when it comes to the debate of it, I think that we could sit here all night. And so that's what I'm really looking for. If it's on there, we need either direction, or you can go off and think about it. We can just receive it for discussion and move on. Councilor Allen.
I believe that this body should issue a letter of opposition, but then I guess the question truly is timeline. If this is part of the spring legislative spring legislative schedule, sorry, that's quite the mouthful. Then what's our timeline on this piece of legislation? It would be before the House. Is it at first reading, second reading? Where are we sitting?
I don't know where it's sitting on the provincial approval docket, but I do understand the province wants this legislation to be passed by the election this fall. So it's going to be moving very, very And so
Another-
UBCM, right?
Another direction you could take with it is, you could always reach out to our MLA and talk about concerns. We could have him come in, you could talk about, concerns with him and have a very, thorough conversation, if that's something that you're looking for as well. He represents us technically in
to the
that
province,
house,
yeah.
yeah, right?
What about, because I think we'd have time, like, 'cause you do have fundamental issues with it, would it be something to look at, maybe doing a UBCM, doing a UBCM resolution, say, because, like, you're very passionate about what your issues are, and the way that us writing a letter is just gonna fall on deaf ears and get filed, right? But if we were to look at this and, you make a case to make this a UBCM,
This will
what's
pass
the
before
looking for?
UBCM though, that's the kind of.
Suspected it
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, because, like I said, the letter, like I said, if.
Well, that's why I'm wondering if maybe a broader conversation with the MLA, who technically represents us down there, would actually be better, because then he can sort of bring some of our concerns forward to him. We could start there. Just looking for some direction, gentlemen, what are we doing?
I think, oh, sorry, Mayor. I think bringing in asking our MLA to come in and we could have a conversation about that would be a smart move.
Okay, would you like him to come into a regular or committee of the whole, so we can properly fit?
I do committee poll just so that we could,
Have
Yeah,
an
we have
open
no
conversation. Okay, can I get a seconder on inviting our MLA? Thank you, Councillor Whittle. Discussion regarding the MLA coming.
I don't want to interrupt Councilor Rebel.
Okay.
I yammer a lot, it's fine. I've been interrupted before, it's all good. So,
first thing you said tonight.
if I may, so what it would be 2 weeks from now, we would have a committee to hold prior to a regular council meeting to keep the timeline. Or I guess it would be at the availability of the representative.
So basically, it would be at the availability of MLA Neufeld, and then basically, if he gives me a date, if we can work it within like our regular scheduled meeting dates, we definitely can, and then we can hold a committee of the whole prior to the regular council meeting. If we can't, then it would just sort of be a special committee of the whole meeting. I'm pretty sure Mr. Malkinson is probably gonna try to have it where we can do a committee of the whole prior, just to make things a little bit easier. What we could do, just so that this is a much broader conversation, is rather than start a committee at 7:15, we start our regular at 7:15 and start our committee of the whole at 5, right? So just kind of looking at changing things in that way too, so we're not here till midnight.
Anyways, I do appreciate Member Opposite for the recommendation that the letter would just be filed as consultation and just do nothing really tangibly if they are intent on moving this forward. I think going through the provincial representative is the way to go. That's what I'd like to see. I don't want to see this die here today, even though we're not. Okay, so then the motion would be that we direct staff to reach out to the MLA to see the MLA's availability to then issue.
Invite him to a committee of the whole to discuss Bill 17.
Okay.
Yep.
So move that.
I already did.
Oh,
You already
so-
did, and it's
sorry.
seconded.
We're discussing that.
All right. Let's move on.
Well, he sounds super excited. I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor? That is unanimous and carried. Wonderful.
Jeez Louise, that's why I had 2 coffees originally.
Okay, we're gonna move on then, gentlemen. I feel like we've got some great directions, so thank you very much. As I said, when it comes to these meetings, that's mine and Mr. Malkinson's job is, what do you want us to be doing? So fantastic. I am excited to hear the conversation that you guys have. Moving on to 8.2. Bill 18, House of Municipal Affairs Statutes Parental Leave Amendment Act 2026 for council's discussion. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Johnson. I don't even remember why this is on here.
Same reason, I just kind of, they were both quite relevant to your folks' roles, but I think you folks are probably all of it into one
Yeah,
conversation.
you know what, then we're gonna edit that for information. Are you still happy to second that, Councilor Johnson? All those in favor of receiving for information? Unanimous and carried, thank you.
There you go.
There we go. All right, moving on to item new business 9.1. That council award the RFP 2026-01 for the purchase of 2 hybrid pickup trucks to the Fort Motors Ltd. in the amount of $149,694.38, inclusive of applicable taxes. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Johnston. I would like to start off by congratulating our staff. You guys totally did it. You found a way to fit this within the grant by like a matter of like $40.
Yeah, that's worship.
That is like mind-boggling.
$300. Yeah, the way that we structured the RFP basically was like it was a scored RFP. So unfortunately, the scoring was based on price. Proponents that submitted proposals that did not meet the minimum standards in the RFP would be excluded, and there were a series of optional like add-ons that were included there too. So the winning bid that we're recommending to you folks here basically hit all of the optional specs right underneath the explicit budgeted cap that we put into the RFP as well. We did get, for instance, a proponent that made a submission that was for I think 180, and it was just okay. We can't do that.
Yeah.
It's outside of budget. So.
It's outside of what was planned. No, fantastic job. You guys absolutely killed it. I was a little bit nervous because I know when you first put it out, we didn't get much. And I was like, oh no. And then you guys really sort of went out and did it again and kind of started chasing things down. And so a huge thank you to you and Chad for your work that you guys did on this. You managed to do it and right up to a couple $100. So thank you guys so much. Wonderful job. Yes, Councillor Whittle.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. The only question I have is when it comes to maintenance for maintaining the fleet. I know myself, I've bought vehicles locally and I've had issues with maintenance locally.
Sorry, sir.
So I'm actually quite happy to see with who you guys met with, because I've had, like I said, I've had some issues with some local providers. Myself and warranty issues with them, right? So that would be my only other thing is, because that can end up costing us thousands of dollars down the road, so.
Right.
Yeah, was there any discussion put into like maintenance and warranty type?
There was. Proponents were required to submit warranty information. It's the model that we're recommending tonight has 3 years basic, 5 years on the powertrain, and 8 years hybrid, like the electric components on it. And the service center that they did cite is the Dawson dealership here, just because I think they have that network. But there's options to probably use Ford as well, like rather than Ford St. John if there are issues on the servicing side.
And then, so normally with warranty, it's 3 years, 5 years, or whatever, or up to 150,000 kilometers. Is that within this, or is that, no, it's definitely 3, definitely 5, and definitely 8?
Can't remember. I'd have to check with the chief, but I'm pretty, that sounds familiar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's usually whatever comes sooner.
Right, yeah.
And this is the gas tax grant, right?
This is the climate action.
Which actually,
I know what I meant to say, I just didn't say it.
since you folks discussed last, the province did announce that it is sunsetting the local government.
I know, it's getting rid of it, I'm so bummed.
It was $150,000 was the last amount that you got a couple of years back, and no more since the province.
We're in? Yeah.
So that was even got a $13 billion.
All of a sudden, Climate went from top priority to not even on the list.
Yeah.
It's going to be a common theme this year.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of
We
stuff.
saw a rollback as well with the Fire Smart grant. There's a few other programs that will make things a little bit tighter, or force our solutions to be a little bit more local to some of the,
Well, you're gonna see they're gonna start tightening up, because I know with grants before, as long as you're within the spirit of the grant, they would let you do it, but I think you're gonna see them, and I've already seen some organizations and some provincial stuff, they've started tightening up, so now it's not the spirit of the grant, it's when you laid out and quoted in that grant.
Yeah.
And then instead of letting you sit on the money for a year and ask for multiple extensions, they're wanting use it or lose it, and that's the vote I think we ran into this year with some of our funds.
Me and Duncan were doing some pretty inventive thinking this afternoon of, okay, we've been sitting on this for a while, it needs to be spent ASAP, how can we spend it?
Well, it's just something to keep in mind too, though, like especially this next year or two as we're going after grants and as the province goes deeper in debt. And, as it is, we lost, the province actually has seen a decrease in population this year, right? Compared to the first time in like 50 years.
Alberta's been increasing.
So it'd be something just to be cognizant of, I guess, when we're applying for these grants and stuff like that. Think about what are the peripherals that could affect this and, seeing if we can work that into the grant so we don't, for some technicalities, on a grant because it's something beyond our control.
Yep, very fair.
Yes, Councillor Apple, thank you for the consultation.
I have 4 questions. I'll keep them precise through you, Chair, to staff.
All at once?
Yes. No, I'll keep them precise. There is a need for this. These 2 trucks fit that need in Public Works. This vehicle can operate in the cold weather, and this is entirely grant funded, therefore the local taxpayer doesn't bear the cost of this directly. Indirectly maybe, but.
So the grant question first, the financial plan has the balance of your LGCAP funds, so it's somewhere around $120,000 drawn on to offset this purchase. And I believe there's a $30K draw from tax in the financial plan. So quite a steep discount if you want to look at it that way.
Yes, this
will
is
the
needed.
trucks operate in cold weather? Yes, they will. They're not a light hybrid, but they have a gas engine in them, and they can work on 2 systems. And then yes, these are needed. A couple of our trucks are certainly aging out, and I think we've even just parked one of our trucks there in the yard. It's just not doing anything.
Well, the village is still running the old Chiefs buggy that got retired in 2015. They
Yeah.
got kicked over to Public Works back in like 2015, 2016, something like that. I think Public Works is still rattling that old beast around.
And not only is
Yeah.
this needed, but gentlemen, this is part of our asset management and replacement plan.
That's the most important.
That's the most important thing,
Yeah.
And it was mostly grant funded.
and it was mostly grant funded.
If this motion is successful, which I think it will be,
I was like,
I'll leave it at that. If it is successful, I know that there was a lot of concern regarding the second command truck when
Yes.
that was purchased. If the village were to issue a public statement regarding the purchasing of the trucks, and why we need it, it's grant funded, we got the money a few years ago to do this, and now we're actually doing it, kind of thing, so that there isn't that public confusion about we're just buying new trucks to buy new trucks.
We're all getting new cars, aren't
Right, like,
Oh.
do you think, what does council think about that?
As far as I know, that was already in the plan, so once the trucks come in, so one of my goals that I had and that I had expressed to Mr. Malkinson when he first started was the need to really increase our transparency through social media. And so I don't know if you've noticed, but we've really amped up with the support of Mr. Malkinson on that app. We are almost putting out like weekly posts. And so the plan, I think, was to kind of get a photo of these two trucks, thank the grant, and really talk about how this is, reaching our asset management and replacement expectations.
Yeah.
And funded objectives.
Yeah.
You can leave that out.
And I believe we're obligated to, because we're replacing assets like in Public Works, but so when these come on board, I believe we're retiring some equipment as well.
Yes.
And we're required to make a public statement about retired assets and all
Yeah.
the assets that we're disposing of.
I just previously received quite a few phone calls from people and pictures of the command truck and all these sorts of things when we bought that. And I know that was totally different. I haven't received anything like that recently about anything, but which is good. but I think the social media thing that we're doing now is working.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that when we do this, that people don't jump on that bandwagon again and we have all of this misinformation going out there and what's going on.
Yeah, no, and then it was interesting because we'd actually had a conversation. We had talked about Public Works using the original command truck and then the second one staying with the fire hall. And when we had that discussion, we even went so far as adding additional decals to that truck so that people could understand that if you see a Public Works person driving it, it's double deckled.
Did we double back on it?
Yeah, that was part of our.
I think we do have the deck line. I don't think it's double deckled right now.
But that vehicle's like the second command, well, the first command unit, because you got the new,
Yeah.
the new one. But that second command unit, I've actually seen go up quite a bit. It's increased the fire department's response times, and our public
Reduce
works.
fire departments.
Yeah. And then our public works director is also one of the officers for the fire department, and I've seen him quite regularly. He utilizes that truck for both public works use and for the fire department. So that truck quite regularly isn't just being used for the fire department, and then even Chief DeVoe's on vacation, and I noticed that, his truck that he had was parked back at the fire hall, and now one of the other officers is using it.
That's correct.
For the fire, as per our policies, right? So having that second unit has definitely, just definitely benefited the community and the regional district, because quite regularly they send those trucks out before they send the big trucks, and they've got both trucks equipped now. I've seen they got canopies off and they're getting tanks put in both of the trucks. So they can actually respond to that truck and put out a spot fire with that little pickup truck versus pulling out a big old fire truck and costing us another flat tire.
Gets us on the scene quicker and, there's a few benefits.
So this is super exciting. Staff killed it. They worked it within the budgeted amount, $128,000. That was completely grant funded. And we are going to be putting out a media release about it, talking about some of those asset management, asset replacement things that we've done for this summer. So I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And that is unanimous and carried. Wonderful job. Thank you guys so much. All right, moving on to item 9.2. Councilor Wong.
That council approve policy 2.6 complaints as amended.
Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Johnston. Councilor Wong.
What is the amendment?
I know. We need to always stick it in red.
It looks good, I just don't know what's changed.
Yeah, so if you look under the original RTC policy development review, yeah, under 2.6 it says complaints.
Yeah.
The amendments to the policy, it's been updated to distinguish between general operational concerns and formal complaints, including those related to the bylaw enforcement. It was all, the language currently was quite muddled, and it never really said what was a public complaint, what was just a general bylaw. So it's really taking those and actually separating that language a little better. The second part was clarifying the intake methods, right? So improving documentation standards and aligning the current practices with our administration workflows.
Sure. I'm like, this looks great, I just don't know what we changed.
Yeah, we changed that. Yeah, so, okay. Any other discussion, questions? Councilor Rabble?
I see that it's separating it out, and that members of the public can go through staff, and if they can't succeed there, then they can come to council. It's still all the different protections, it's just clarifying the roles. And thank you, staff, for preparing this report.
Yeah, thank you, staff. Thank you.
As a member of the public asking with the recycling.
Yes.
Can you choose to opt out of the recycling?
You cannot, so our
That's
recycling is attached to our water and sewer, so you cannot opt out of it. So, yes, part of that.
You're never gonna get soft plastic, are you?
It's actually not up to us, it's up to the Dawson Creek Recycling Depot, and it is so frustrating.
It's everywhere else in the country that's
Yeah.
soft plastic except here.
We did have the cans down at the school, but I think we were having problems with it kept getting vandalized and broken, and so it was actually costing us money year over year.
I know we did some checking this week and there was
Yeah.
quite a few bins left behind and I got a couple calls. Do I
So,
have to have this?
yeah,
Yes,
so-
you do.
Well,
I
I
know,
know that we repeal policy 4.15, because we just started talking about it.
Because this actually has a plastic film, acceptable materials, right?
And even on the plastic, it says recyclable.
Hang on,
And
let's hang on, we need to move there, we need to finish this one. So, all those in favor of 2.6? Thank you. Now, that council,
I move that council repeal policy 4.15, curbside recycling.
thank you, can I get a seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Woodall, thank you. I was like, you guys are killing me, stop jumping. So in this policy was created prior to the addition of the solid waste management bylaw 1049/2023, which covers curbside recycling. So it was sort of redundant. This doesn't change the rules or the impacts to curbside recycling though. So it's still staying the same, but rather than having this additional bylaw, we rolled it all into our current policy.
So reduce the policy and
So,
Sure.
yes.
Where the regs are in the bylaw now
Yes.
rather than the policy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is coming under bylaw now, not policy, so.
Right.
Yeah.
It's redundant. It's redundant.
Yeah. Makes policy redundant. Any questions? Councilor Wall? Oh, no. Sorry, can I move? I'm like a fly. It's just like, are you?
I play with my pen.
All those in favor? Unanimously carried. Thank you. Moving on to Item 9.3, to confirm council's attendance to the 2026 Northern Central Local Government Association Annual Conference for discussion. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wall. I just gotta know who's going, gentlemen.
I'm going.
You're going. You're going.
I'd like to go.
You're going.
Without rage, enumeration.
We already voted that. We already agreed that.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, well, if I could.
Well, no, is NCLJ included in the wage?
NCLJ and UBCM were included in the.
Okay.
I think we
It's also
motioned
for
that we
policy.
made last time was for the NCA, for this year was the NCLGA, UBCM, and FCM for those.
Yeah.
Who wanted to go.
Mr. Wilkinson, do you remember that?
That's my recall.
Yes? Okay, then yes.
Okay, then I'll.
Okay, so all of us are going. Hey guys, are we
No, UBCM the one time.
Airbnb-ing it then?
No,
No,
yeah.
we have the post, it's, which is right across from.
Yeah,
the convention center.
Yeah, I'll take
Yeah.
I totally booked ours for Vancouver, that's freaking nice.
Ooh.
And it's so cheap, $2,800 for
Yeah.
a whole week.
I stayed in
In
closets and
Vancouver.
You stay in my class.
So just so everyone's aware, I'll be already down there because I'm gonna be down there that week. I'm just waiting for final confirmation for a job, but I'm gonna be down there from the 15th to the 19th for work. So I have my hotel booked from the 19th to the 22nd, which is the conference. So it is actually gonna save the village travel one direction. So
Awesome.
village can pay for me to come home and work's paying for me to go down. So, and then there isn't even actually any extra hotel cost on it or anything else. So we end up saving a little bit.
And I did confirm with Trudy today that the reservations that we made were for the 19th to 22nd inclusive. So if, maybe we can coalesce, in the recess between, regular and in camera and confirm, travel as well, so that we can let go of a couple of those, days, on those reservations, if that's okay. But we will register everybody, which is great.
On this topic, I believe we have a regular council meeting in the middle of that.
No, it's on the 13th. We leave the 15th. Or leave the 19th.
That would have been a rookie mistake by me.
Oh no, it's UBCM. UBCM, we have a council meeting.
Yeah.
We also covered that.
We also covered that, we're all good.
Oh.
You guys approved the schedule that, reconciles.
We got our stuff together.
Oh wait, we are. Well, I remember the other one. I don't remember this one.
You're for it, right? You're for it.
Okay, I'm gonna call I need to call the question. The second thing I was gonna bring forward, oh, yes?
So, just for clarification from staff, we did approve the wage loss reimbursement. I know we talked about it, we did, it was
Passed a
voted on the
resolution, so there was a report that ran to you folks, November, December last year saying, hey, look at all these conferences, who do you want authorized to go?
Yeah,
There was a resolution at that time that, authorized wage loss reimbursement for a series of, events this year, which, Jimmy and I recall, so include NCLGA.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it. I just want to make sure that we're not jumping the gun and then we turn around and get set up and then somebody gets told, oh, sorry, you're not eligible.
Take it out of my paycheck if,
oh my gosh.
I'm joking.
If I may, I recall that motion. I believe it was for NCLGA, UBCM, and FCM, and that you guys would come back with a report to see what the budget impacts would be if all five of us had to do it, or something like that. And then it ended up being that because we didn't go to a bunch of other conferences, it ended up actually being cheaper than.
Yeah.
I'll pull it up here.
That's what I remember, anyways. Does that sound familiar?
It definitely does, yeah, because this is the first year all five of us, we're gonna go do a bunch of things, because we have a lot of things on the docket for NCLJ and UBCM and FCM for the first time in a couple of years, it's close by.
And usually like I do one or the other. This year I'm actually going to do.
I just finished booking, our stay in Vancouver, so it was $2,800 for the whole week. I couldn't believe how cheap it was, and then I'm gonna be coming in next week to do our FCM one, depending on how many are going. June, 4th? No, it's like early in June. It's June 4th to the 7th.
So basically 2 weeks after we get back from NCLGA.
Oh, don't worry, I get back from NCLJ, then I go to FCM, then I'm back for 2 days, and then I go to Keeping It
I'll
Rural.
let staff know now I'm not gonna go to FCM.
Not going?
No, I can't afford to take
That much time.
NCLGA off, FCM and UBCM. And I
That's
think
why we
we're
did the
better off
wage
to do
loss.
this. Yeah, I'm self-employed.
Please self.
I don't have a regular employer. I casually work for like 3 different companies. And
We should look at that policy.
No,
I'm in the same boat, I sub, I'm not, I technically.
I just wanna let staff know I'm not going to that, but I will be at,
We'll talk after.
Your worship, just, I'm not sure if anybody else intends on going to UBCM or FCM. It'd be super cool. I'd be very happy to register everybody
I'm
tomorrow.
intending to go on all three.
The early bird for FCM, I believe, expires tomorrow.
Yes, I'm going to FCM. Are
My
you?
intention is to go to all three.
You're going. You're going. Are you going to
I'd like
FCM?
to go to UBCM and NC.
NCLJ. Okay, so currently for FCM, it's me, Kurt, and James.
Because I have to track down the Minister of Public Safety.
I will get us.
I was given instructions.
He's been fair warned.
I did that 2 weeks ago already.
I can get us a smaller condo.
He was back in the region last week, actually.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. So, UBCM, we have, Ray, do we have everybody for UBCM?
I think everybody's
Everyone's
going
going
to
to
UBCM, yeah.
And everybody for NCLGA?
Yep.
All right, that makes things super easy.
Awesome, that does. That makes things so much easier. Thank you, guys.
Double check.
Sure.
So,
Just to make sure.
I also wanted to bring up, with all of us going, I received some correspondence regarding the NCLJ Annual General Meeting and Convention in Prince George. So, they're pleased to inform that Northern Health participation at the upcoming NCLJ Annual General Meeting. At the upcoming NCLJ Convention, Northern Health itself and the board chairs, as well as Colleen Nice, will once again be hosting one-on-one meetings with local government representatives to discuss any healthcare issues or questions you may have. If you are interested in meeting with them, I invite you to contact the office and book it.
We have healthcare.
Now,
Can we talk about our lack of healthcare?
healthcare is going to be there. Did we put forward something about healthcare for NCLG? I can't remember. No.
Not since.
No, that was-
You collaborated with,
Hudson's
Wonderful
Health.
House on some, you offered them a letter and connected with them recently about, some more dynamic nursing models that they were trying to run.
Yes.
There was cross-border advocacy with, GP, trying to, or sorry, the RD advocacy, you guys tagged on to the RD's advocacy regarding cross-border medical services.
So if this council is interested in the things that we've provided letters of support for, we can bring those letters of support and the resolutions by those communities that we're supporting and speak on behalf of our community regarding those things.
We should just, to give Ginny his, computer back, it was just January 28th, 2026. The council approved wage loss remuneration for council members attending FCM, UBCM, and NCLGA conferences. That's what we did in the month. That was full stop.
So what I'm interested in doing is I would like to make a recommendation that staff provide copies of the letters of support and things that we have supported regarding health for NCLGA to this council and book us a meeting with Northern Health to discuss these things.
Okay.
Do I have any support from council on
Yeah,
that?
second that.
That's seconded by Councilor
It
Whittle.
never hurts, for
So-
one that we see
No.
this.
It'll be, if you remember the last time all of us went, it was with Ms. Stokes last year. I created those booklets, the same ones as I do for UBCM.
And
I
we
will-
with Mr. Levitt, the
Yes.
seniors advocate.
I will do the same thing for NCLGA. I'll provide you the information with the letters of support that we have provided, and those will be our talking points when we meet with Northern Health.
Quick question, when you do those up, can you supply two copies of the letter?
Yeah.
Because quite regularly, we like to have one, and like, I know in, UBCM, we actually copied one of the letters, we gave one of the letters to the minister when we went to meet with them, and the other one, like, I actually carried a copy of it in my pocket, I found it here the other day when I put my suit on. And so that when I was talking to other people, and just in general conversations that you have around, I was able to, like, actually, this is the letter that we used, and I was able to go back and reference it when.
Yeah.
Because with these conferences, you never know who you're gonna run into, especially like if you're at the bar having a drink, you might run into one of the ministers or one of the minister secretaries or other elected officials, and it's nice to have that reference material close to hand.
I like it. So, what I generally do, Mr. Malkinson, is I'll come in, about 10 days prior. I build the binders, and then I leave them here, and these guys come in and grab them.
You talking as well for NCLGA, or are you talking UBCM?
No, I'm talking for NCLJ as well.
Okay.
With us all going, I'm gonna do the same thing. Once you book the meeting with Northern Health, it'll have its own tab. I just need you to print off the time and location, and I'll attach that to the letters of support that they have, within their binders for those speaking notes.
Sounds great. I look forward to us getting further on that, in case I forget. I need
No, that's totally fine. I'm just letting you know what I generally.
Binder bill.
Yeah.
Just bring back my empty binders from the last couple of years.
I threw out a bunch of those recently, don't tell anybody.
You did not throw out the empty binders.
I threw out some big giant empty binders in particular.
But like the
We have
huge
some
ones.
binders that we can bring back, like genuinely.
Yeah, well, you guys probably have like your UBCM ones. If you wanna bring them back, I will use them against.
Save
UBCM.
costs, why not?
Yeah.
We've got empty
Okay.
binders.
Yeah, we just recently went through, because we keep all of our copies of everything.
Yeah.
And I have all the agendas neat, we got 2 copies of everything.
All right, I'm gonna call
Yeah, I guess 4
the,
years before, I think it was awesome.
I'm gonna call the question on the recommendation regarding the Northern Health thing and CLG. All those in favor? That's unanimously carried. I'm excited.
So we got 10.2 then.
We did. Okay, so moving on to correspondence. So we just finished 10.2, thank you. So moving on to 10.1. The council received the request for Iron Wolf Athletics for a fee waiver for consideration. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Johnston. I have a question. How much is the fee that we're technically asking you to pay?
Yeah,
Written out, and for some reason it's gone. Oh, for that.
It's on page 156.
A fee for that.
Yeah, but it doesn't say what the fee is.
No, I haven't calculated out, I asked a person in the office to do it.
so if I may, it seems as though, this, Mr. Mizey is approaching, sending a letter to council. I appreciate that what Iron Wolf Athletic Society does for the village. In this request, I would appreciate, or would have appreciated more of a breakdown. I am curious as to essentially what the cost of the fees that the village is charging this organization, what the cost to the village is. I guess we constantly maintain the thing, the fields, whether people use them or not. It's just a daily operational thing, right? The fees that the village charges for the recreation facilities would be a recuperation of these operational costs. Am I correct in that understanding?
It is to a point. Currently, there's not a whole pile down there. I think as we begin adding to it or increasing any of the things that are down there, our option to waive those fees is definitely going to go. Like right now, there's not much down there, but if we start adding in extra picnic tables or activity things, waiving those fees is not going to be such an easily led option. Yes, Mr. Robinson.
Got it here. So, the request that we have in the office here that, Mr. Mizey is asking for an exemption on the weekend tournament. Total cost would be about $725. The games running from May 1st to August 7th, which would work out to about $1,680. Volleyball, which is August 10th to September 30th, which would be about $840. And the All Leagues tournament, July 31 to August 3rd, which is about $750. So the possible overall waiver is about $4,000.
Yes, Councillor Whittle.
So I know Iron Wolf and Mr. Mizey have put in a lot of time and attention into the fields, and like we have an agreement going forward. At the end of the day, though, I know they've put a lot into it, but like $4,000 is a fairly good hit. And I know like Mr. Mizey's not making money off these, but it might be something to look into in the future, is having a 2-tiered fee system. Especially for an organization like that does do fundraising and puts money back into the fields and improvements in the field, and it kind of puts us in a sticky situation because we need money to improve the fields and stuff. Mr. Mizey's organization is putting money into it to do it, but at the same time, that's a $4,000 potential.
Maybe take a portion of the fee.
Right, so like I would be opposed to waiving 10 to 50% of the fees.
Yeah.
Right, but like waiving the whole thing, I think that's something, in all honesty, that warrants more of a discussion with Mr. Mizey to kind of see what Iron Wolf's contributions are to the fields and stuff versus the village's contributions, and see if it works in our financial benefit. Because I'm all for supporting local organizations and people being able to utilize the field, but we've had this discussion multiple times at this table that we need to look at least cost recovery at the very least for staff time for maintaining it and that kind of stuff.
That is very true, because we also just budgeted to put, was it $20,000 in the fields this year alone?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, and like we're looking at multiple things like for improvements and stuff. Like I know we just approved for the dugouts,
Yeah.
because we had some grant money and stuff for the dugouts, and then other improvements. So I think it's, cause I see that, cause every year, Mr. Misey, like, it's great tournaments, but every year they come back to us asking us to waive the fees for it.
Right.
And so I think moving forward with that agreement, it might be something to look at, is a wage.
Especially now as we are beginning to put more money into it, yeah.
And the village does have an MOU with Iron Wolf.
Yeah.
The reason, the MOU that you have with Iron Wolf doesn't guarantee, fee waivers. It doesn't say that, this is something that would be automatic, et cetera. So, it's a collaboration about, attracting donations, finding grants, and making improvements to, make Nav Park, to make it a bit of a hub. But, the notion that, all aspects of the equation would be, again, I'm not trying to in no way imply any kind of imbalanced, relationship. We're definitely thankful for anything the volunteers want to do to improve village assets, but it does get to be a bit of a challenge when the entirety of the activity out there would be exempted in the end of the year.
I think one of the ideas that we need to actually look at too is through that MOU that we have with Mr. Misey through Iron Wolf, the expectation is that we kind of meet him in the middle, right? And so it's we're fixing the fields up and working with you, and as a nonprofit, you have more access to grants and fundraising than we as a municipality do, which is the reason why the MOU was put into place. And then with that, we've been working on it. I would like to see each year how much money he does put into it, because my whole stake is, okay, well, if we're putting $20,000 to $30,000 in it this year, and you've put $1,000 in, then I'm not going to be waiving your fees the following year.
Yeah.
If that kind of makes sense, because there needs to be a bit of that cost recovery for the taxpayer.
Do we not also cover the cost of the grant writer as well, because he utilizes our grant writer?
Yeah, our grant writer's grant funded though.
So there's a lot of in-kind there, so I would, personally, I think, going back to Mr. Misey and Iron Wolf and saying that we're willing to waive half the fees, I think is, again, we're meeting in the middle, just like our MOU, everything else we're kind of doing. We're still, we're the S with the municipality, everybody uses it, we're gonna take the lion's share, the financial hit on it. But I think there still needs to be some fees, because there's still staff time.
Yeah.
Right, at the very least, cost recovery.
Your parks function doesn't, pretending like I'm an RD staff, but no, the park service that you folks offer doesn't have a lot of offsetting revenue, so I think even nominally, retaining a little bit to, preserve the integrity of that service makes fair business sense.
Yes, Councillor Howell.
Okay, so 2 preliminary questions through you, Chair and staff, if I may. When is the next time this organization will incur a fee for the next upcoming event? Like, what's our timeline until this organization next incurs a fee?
May 1st.
May 1st?
May 1st.
Theoretically, when
Okay, so it's already coming up pretty hot.
Firing up, yeah.
And then the next thing is, the thing that governs these charges would be the fees charged by them, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and that's fair across the board. Anybody who wants to use those ball diamonds pays the same rate, essentially. Okay. So then, with that, I think we really need to be considerate as to what we want to invest in those facilities. Any organization that hosts an event, I'm assuming, are people playing for free, or is there a cost recovery model in place, right? So that's kind of that figuring out.
I think there's entry fees for the tournaments, because that goes towards their prizes and, a lot of their promotion and stuff like that.
And often, we would attempt to start regulating behavior bookings, in public parks if, folks were claiming exclusive use of the parks or seeking to reserve the parks and prevent other people from enjoying them at that time, right? Somebody's going to play a, baseball game, in the evening, casually, that's one thing. If there's structured, events over the course of, months, then that's something that
There'll be those weekend ones, they're probably wanting to do camping as well.
Yeah, it's been discussed.
Because that's what they've done in past years, which has worked out really well,
Yes, Councillor.
And that is a litmus that is considered with nonprofits and other organizations or any hall rental in any generality, is the space exclusive to the renter and excluding the public. We already subsidize our spaces publicly. You can go right now, it's dark, but you can go play on those fields right now. Like, nobody's gonna stop you. You can go in the playground and play in the playground.
I can go.
No, you cannot.
Jungle gym, yeah. But what I'm getting at with this is, that's always a reasonable line. I do appreciate that. Is this function being, is public access being restricted? I assume people can watch and whatever, but this is a semi-private event, right?
Yeah.
That's using a facility. If somebody was to have a birthday party in the community center, they're renting the community center. Yes, it's a public good for the people that participate in that specific event. Yes, it's lovely. But then there's reasons why we charge fees is to recover because there's cost to maintenance. This is not a free this is not a free service. It does cost the taxpayer. So
There's a lot of interweaving principles, like there's also the public to private benefit. How much are the individuals that are using the thing benefiting versus the public as a whole as well?
yeah, some folk, there could be the other economic development argument that attracting folks from outside the community to spend here boosts the economy. So I think this is a deeper conversation. I think that because Emily governs this relationship, I think that we, have this discussion in the near future.
Yes, Councilor.
I know it's kind of, right now it might be, seems like a few dollar camp with staff, but would it be something just to kind of govern how we approach this going forward is actually look into, what the maintenance cost would be like? So I'm saying we're sending over, we gotta send over a lawnmower to mow everything before the event starts, right? To maybe rake up the sand or do some general maintenance. But look at what the time allocation is for that, general time allocation, and then see what that cost recovery is so that when we go into these, have organizations, and I'm not just talking about with Mr. Misey and Iron Wolf, but if we have other organizations that come to us that we're looking at for nonprofit organizations at the very least, or, charitable organizations, that kind of stuff, looking at a cost recovery. Don't get me wrong, I do not want to make money off these organizations, but at the same time, there needs to be a cost recovery. I work with a charitable organization, nonprofit for, a number of years, and, that actually goes out and saves lives and a lot of life prevention saving stuff. And they still pay, $20,000+ a year to rent a building for a bunch of volunteers, the whole hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment to go out and save people's lives. So they're still paying $20,000+ a year for rent, right? So going to these organizations that they're not making money off of it, but it's still an not-for-profit, that cost recovery, especially when we're looking at our asset management, we're looking at some improvements and everything else. At the very least, we've got to be cost recovered, but we don't know what that number is yet.
I do need to state, just because Mr. Misey will murder me if he watches this and finds out that I didn't state it, that in the past, Mr. Misey has been the one who has paid the money to get the fields ready for tournaments, because none of our public works crew have the training that they need to get the fields ready. So
that's where I think part of that conversation of finding out what the actual cost recovery is, and I think in all honesty, we don't have the information tonight to make a decision.
Yeah.
I think this would be something that we should table, give staff a chance to talk to public works and see, okay, what their capabilities are, what the actual time allotment is, talk to Mr. Misey and say, okay, well, this is what staff covers, this is what you cover, and have the conversation with Mr. Misey offline, and then bring it back to us with different numbers.
Okay, Councilor Wong?
I did step out for a moment. Did we cover how much the actual
$4,000.
$4,000.
That's why I'm saying cost recovery.
Yeah. So, okay, so what I'm looking for from this body then is a recommendation to table and have staff go back.
I'll make the recommendation that we table the Ironworth Athletics request for fees until staff has had a chance to consult with Mr. Misey and Public Works to find out what cost recovery would look like for our facilities.
Can I get a seconder? You seconding that?
Yeah. Can I make a friendly amendment to your motion?
Potentially.
Which is, because the fees would be due May 1st, that is coming up next week. We might not get all the information by the time next week rolls around.
No, but if we end up.
No, but if he pays it and we decide, no, don't
that
worry, we can reimburse it.
Even if we, I would like to make it so that even if, one way or the other, that if there is a fee that's going to be charged, that fee won't be charged until June 1st.
I would just leave it as is because it lets staff and Mr. Mizey come up with something. If we don't bill him for this weekend, right, because if we bill him for this weekend, it's gonna cost what it costs. But if Mr. Mizey's all right with it and staff's all right with not billing him this weekend, then it gives them time to come up with a more holistic approach to it and bring back
Well,
something.
and then
to
not
us.
only that, but if we bill him and he pays it, and then this body decides to vote in favor of waiving all the fees, he would then be reimbursed the money.
And then we're using more staff time, and then we have to issue credits. And
So if, I just wanna set expectations here, I don't know that we would have like a, you know, I'd be inclined, I think it'd be easy to prep scenarios and say like, okay, on this general basis, you know. this
yeah,
is
that's
probably-
all I'm looking at as a general number, because like, we're not gonna, because there's gonna be times where, you know, if he's only renting it for one day and we go cost recovery, we might make a couple extra bucks.
Yeah.
Off it, but yeah, if he has it for an entire weekend, it might cost us a couple bucks. Like, there's gonna be some give and take in that number.
Yeah.
Because we're looking just for an average, like an average.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's fair to, for our staff, to charge him and then reimburse him and all that.
That's why we're gonna talk about not charging him for
But
this.
he wants a waive, we're charging him regardless, he's looking for a waive.
Yeah, I would like it if, because we're coming back with more information, that we just don't charge him for now, we can discuss it and come up with whatever number that's going to be after we've decided whatever the number's gonna be.
I mean, what do you think about that, Mr. Malcolm said?
I favor, it's kind of, forgive me if I'm thinking about this in a narrow-minded or a binary way, but for me, it's kind of, if council wants the exemption or the relief from the fees, that's great. That would be very clear to us. If you want me to offer like a relief and maybe we will finally approve the relief later
Yeah.
in the season, that gets to be a little bit
It gets
awkward.
really awkward, that's what I was thinking. That's why I'm thinking have him pay, and then if a relief is
Potential for a
given,
grant or a potential for a reimbursement.
that's right,
We'll
yeah.
just knock it off the remaining fees.
Yes, yeah, right, and so that's why I'm thinking about going forward
And
with,
I think as well, this, again, I'm not saying that I have any qualms about, Mr. Mizey coming to the table and doing this, but I think this would, prompt a very quick examination, because there's a financial incentive in doing so. This would prompt a very, you know, quick conversation with Mr. Mizey to get some numbers on the table and, you know, prepare that and present that to council. He'd be knocking on my door real quick.
Councilor Rabble, thank you so much.
Was this organization charged similar fees for similar events hosted in this facility in last year or previous years?
He's been coming to us every year to have it be waived, because we have not been putting money into it, we've been waiving the fees.
Yeah.
We have now signed the MOU with them and have begun putting money into it.
Okay. How many years have we waited?
We've waived the fee since, well, no, it's not.
That's been 3 or 4 years,
It's-
because Mr. Mizey started before, when we got elected in the by-election 5 years ago, was the first year that Mr. Mizey came to council. And
Mr.
then
Sabalski
we started
didn't
working
have
with-
our fee schedule completed.
No, we didn't have fee schedules in the past either, but we have waived every fee and everything for him. We've never actually charged Mr.
so
Mizey
this-
anything from the state, to my understanding.
Okay, so folks, we have a bylaw, the bylaw stands until we give clear direction to exempt somebody specifically from it. But then on the other hand is we have waived specifically to this organization in all the previous years.
Yes.
These specific fees.
Yes, he's never paid. a
So
fee.
this would be the first incurrence of this.
Yeah, but this is also our
This is our
first time
first
putting money
into it.
into it.
Mm.
Then we also entered into an MOU this last year, which is a new thing
Yeah.
as well, because before it was kind of a handshake agreement. They were utilizing it as an ad hoc basis as they were building.
I don't think our cost would be $4,000.
That's according to our files, but our cost,
I think that's why much more. That's my guess.
Yeah,
Again, I'm not gonna.
For a 2-day tournament?
Oh, forgive me. No, this is not for a 2-day tournament. This
No,
is
no,
for-
this is
the
for the
whole
whole
Entire
season.
season, basically,
This is the
it's a
entire
$4
season.
grand for the season.
This is
Oh,
1, 2,
yeah.
3, 4, this is
So much for
four
this
entire
tournament, so
weekends.
much for this. It was
And the
like-
Oh, I thought this was for the all women's tournament.
No, this is the whole season.
This is all-
And something else for this body to look at is we've had other organizations come to us and ask for in-kind donations. And we're cheap and we've given them $150, $200. This is no different than the organization coming to us and asking us for $4,000.
Yeah.
Essentially, this is the way I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is user fees, but it's no different than them coming in and asking us for a $4,000 charitable donation or donation to their organization for the year. And we've sat here in these chairs and we've told multiple other organizations that aren't recreational organizations.
Times of death, yeah.
Times of
Yeah, times
Right,
of-
so as crappy as it might sound, like we've gotta, at the very least, we've gotta be cost recovery. I'm gonna die on that hill.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question then, all those in favor?
What was the motion? Sorry.
Sorry?
Was the motion to accept the,
No, the motion was to table it for now while staff go off and look at potential general costs of what it's costing us to maintain it as it is now, and then to connect with Mr. Mizey and bring a report back.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure we're not voting to waive the fee right now.
No, we're not.
Okay.
All those in favor? That's unanimously carried, thank you.
Well, if we're gonna go through this and realize that we need to increase the fees on all of our stuff.
Turns
out it's like $1,000. It already is cost recovery.
Alright, so 10.3, NCLJ April 2026 newsletter, recommend to receive for information.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Rabble. All those in favor? Unanimous and carried. Okay, item number 10.4, recommend that council provide a letter of support to the festival company for the Extreme Mud Fest 2026.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Rabble. Councilor Little.
So they've come to us a couple times now over the years to do this. I'm just curious, now that we've had them in for multiple years, other than the extra traffic that it brings to our one and only convenience store, what's the economic benefit for Coos Scoopy for continuing to support this?
So,
Don't get me wrong, it's a good organization. I'm not saying don't support the letter, but I want to know what the benefit is to our community.
yeah, so you're right. So last summer, for an example, the cooks out at Mudfest actually rented our community center for the whole weekend.
Okay.
And they were cooking out at the community center, making big like roast beefs and stuff, and then bringing them out to the event. They set up staff, and the caretaking staff rent the hotel across the street from us. The store sees an increase in traffic, as well as the liquor store and the
Apparently their sales went through the roof.
as well as the pot store receives a massive increase as well. We also start seeing more families in the community. So often they are camping out there, but there's no parks. And so sometimes we do see an increase of the families bringing their kids in to picnic at either park, the school, or here. That's just a couple of the things we saw last summer.
The Legion's on increase as well last summer.
Yeah, so it actually does bring things. So just the crew alone renting, they rented out both hotels last summer. The cooks were in the hotel across the street. Some of the caretaker crews were in the one on Highway 2. Then they rented the community center for the whole weekend. So it actually worked out really, really well.
Nice.
I think the only potential cost to the village would be our fire response. Is this inside or outside of fire protection?
So this
Do we
is-
respond because of the joint use agreements or something?
So this is technically outside of our fire use. But that was definitely something that was brought up to the PRD table 3 years ago when they came in for the permit to hold this event. With that, they do actually have to have their own private medical care on site. They have to have their own private water trucks that they rent, as well as security, fire prevention, medical, and there was another one.
And I've talked to their, like, you know, it's like any other festival, they've had some incidents. I've talked to a couple of the neighbors actually, that neighbor, and they said, you know, it's a good event, there's usually not any issues, like, you know, there's the typical issues you get at any public
Any
event,
festival, yeah.
any type of festival, but to my understanding, like, even with my conversations with the RCMP, it hasn't been an issue, right?
Cool.
So I'm like, and it was kind of neat when she came to us a couple of years ago, so it's nice to hear the economic benefits of actually being on a community.
No, it's actually last summer was really, really good. I think the plan, I'm not sure if Pauline's connected with Billy yet or not, but I think the plan is for them to do the same thing this year, rent the community center, rent out the hotels. I think that's in the work. I would be surprised if it wasn't, because the chef that was running the meals out there loved our community center. And he was like, he loved how well stocked the whole thing was. They also just rented it just for the refrigerator alone. Because you have to remember, they're running everything out of a field with
trailers,
generators and trays, and we have a fantastic refrigerating system down at the community. He loved it. He was just like, this is the best thing ever. It's so easy. He can get in and out, and he found it very accessible.
So to clarify, the Coos Scoopy Fire Department does not respond to incidences that may occur out there?
No.
Okay, so it's just positive, it's just upside then?
Yeah.
Really?
it is the responsibility of them because they are technically out, they're just at the
Right.
website. I think it's like, what, 1.2 kilometers outside is,
Where does it take place?
so it takes place out towards,
Prior Ridge?
right, Prior Ridge, and then,
Yeah.
you know where it turns on that corner? You go up, you go down, you go up, and you go down again. And it's literally, it sees end of Poos Koopy Fire Zone, and then it's like on the other side.
Giant pile of mud.
Yeah, pretty much.
An extreme pile of mud.
Yeah.
Extreme.
Well, they get some pretty good bands and stuff. I think this year they got.
They have
Big
Gob
Rep
and they have Big Rep.
and Gob,
Yeah. Yeah.
They had Mercules last year, or.
Right on.
No, it's pretty cool.
That's
I
exciting.
knew people who went and bought tickets to go out there just because of the music.
Yeah, yeah, no, the bands are
My
phenomenal.
wife and kids are actually debating getting tickets to go out for the bands this year.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm already getting people poking me, asking me if I'm gonna actually make it, and I did promise her I would go because
You
I
know they
miss it
advertise
every year.
Everywhere, right?
It's on my Facebook. Every time I go through any reel, it's every second
No,
ad.
I mean like, I know people down in the Okanagan that
Oh,
get
yeah.
that see ads for it and they say Poos Koopy. Well, actually, they say Dawson Creek.
It says
So
Dawson
we
Creek,
should
it
maybe
drives
say
me
Poos
nuts.
Koopy.
How do we make them say Poos Koopy?
Oh. I also heard actually they're doing
Has to be what?
Has to be.
Actually, can we say that in the letter of support? This letter of support is contingent that your advertisement says Poos Koopy.
Whoa.
No, because the reason why they need their letter of support, if I remember correctly, it goes back to their liquor license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a letter of support from the neighboring municipality, they can charge more for their liquor,
Yeah.
Interesting.
which then reduces the amount of drunkards.
Which is why I voted against it first year because I was like, I want to cheat.
Yeah. All right, I make a call the question then.
Do we need to make a recommendation?
The recommendation was to send forward a letter, of support. So all those in favor? Unanimous and carried.
Can
Wonderful.
we ask him that? Like, can we ask them?
That they consider,
I think we're listed as one of their sponsors, though, like when they do their shout out to
I'll
sponsors.
just bug
Yeah, yeah.
Billy and be
Like, they're not
like,
getting letters of support from Dawson Creek, they're getting letters of support from us.
no, I think they also get them from Dawson. They
But
may-
also, they're doing one of these down in Washington State this year too.
All right, moving on to recommendation 11, resolutions none. So item number 12, bylaws. Recommend that council give the first, second, and third reading to the tax rate bylaw number 1091/2026. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Whittle. Discussion, Councilor Wall.
On page 170, it has the table of the overall mill rates. I might be putting staff on the spot here. However, I would like to know the difference between the mill rates in 2025 versus 2026.
0.75%.
Of the mill rate?
Oh, the percent increase?
On the mill rate, yeah. What's the difference? Because just looking at the numbers here, I mean,
You want pennies?
0.03257 means nothing to me. I just want to know.
You want like the cents?
Yeah, so this is the 2026. So on the residential, what was it for?
Residential, I think it was 416 last year, somewhere thereabouts.
So 416 to 419.
3 cents per thousand that it's changing.
So on like a,
Just one sec, I do have the old bylaw here I can pull up.
23. Somebody have their phone on? I just want to do the math. I'm like, what's 3 cents times like 2,000 or 200,000?
Does it help if
For like an
it's-
average house.
You wanna see the old bylaw?
It's normally, so the average house, they don't do it under 200,000 anymore. It's around between 250 and 270.
Okay, so what would be like the price? What's the cost difference on a $300,000 house?
There you go. That's closer to the average.
Like just because I can look at this and go, oh, it's 4.19504 cents per dollars per $1,000 of your house's value, but
Why are we appeasing you? You're gonna vote no anyway.
well, I want to know what the difference is.
Last year was 4.1630001 for general municipal.
So there is an increase.
3 cents, yeah.
3 cents.
For every $1,000 of the value, you're gonna pay an extra 3 cents.
Yeah.
So
Which is,
you already find 3 pennies
Which
in
is a 0.75 thereabouts, of a
So
percent.
that's a $3.
No, that's
increase.
0.075, is it not?
It's, of a percent, so it's,
Oh.
0.75, somewhere
Yeah,
around
okay.
there, of a percent.
So there was a very, very small tax increase this year.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Which was identified, you know, through we did the blended approach. You folks are all familiar with that conversation that was a part of the financial planning process. Looks like the revenue projections including the multiples that are in there, shaked out quite close to what was discussed.
At the end of the day, with the BC assessment increases and that sort of thing, there was a small possibility that we might have not had to adjust.
Right.
Which is what,
You're hoping
which is what I was hoping for.
Yes,
We all.
but sadly,
In order to maintain our assets, we need to maintain our budget.
Yeah, and it's an increase in general municipal tax, which helps fix some. I'm not trying to sell to you folks, because you folks are the ones that set, you know, the financial goals, but I think there are some weaknesses. Despite the village's financial strengths, there are some weaknesses in some parts of the village's budget, and this is part of a trend probably needed to correct one of those weaknesses. You guys did draw down reserves in 2025 to, you know, help float the budget. There is a uncomfortable ratio between PRA funds and general municipal tax that's important to fix as well. So there's asset management obligations that you folks will have, and there's the financial headwinds with the province that you know, the village will probably need a little bit of local resiliency to confront. So those four trends, I think, are probably making, again, I don't want to besmirch anybody for how they vote on this, but I think you know, balancing those tax to other revenue sources ratios are pretty prudent steps to preserving financial security for the village.
So, and like, for a residential address, a vote in favor on a $300,000 house is $9.
That sounds about right.
Okay, that's more reasonable than previous years in my mind.
I hope so.
Councillor Rabbit?
I believe this is part of the same motion. The letter from the Peace River Regional District, the 2026 Regional District requisition, and then the portion that's based on land and improvements for the South Peace Multiplex, that's listed as $10,899 as a negative. Is that a refund from that program?
Yeah, because you're done.
Or down.
We overpaid for the multiplex.
So the village overpaid, the taxpayers overpaid.
So now, just please note, this year we're getting a refund on that, which has dropped us down 10,000, but we will not be getting that refund next year, so you are gonna see it go up a bit, right?
So we're
So,
just not gonna be paying the multiplex money.
We'll be getting the refund next year.
there's no $10,000 refund for us next year, so all those numbers,
There are other costs incurred
Yeah, that's
that
right.
will be greater than the value of
so
the
don't
refund.
panic if you're
Therefore,
still sitting in these seats next year and you suddenly go, whoa, this has gone up, no. This year we received a refund.
Okay, because that program will still have costs in 27, or it's
Yeah.
done? Okay.
It's done,
Multiplex is now-
but
Yes.
all these other numbers
Greater
are
than the
still
refund.
gonna be there,
Yeah.
that's right. So it's still, because of this $10,000 refund, we've saved $10,000. But once that $10,000 isn't there, we still have to pay for all these other things, it's
Yes.
closer to 40, that's what I mean.
Yes.
40 grand, yeah.
Yeah, we're not getting money back from the regional district, I
But
understand.
we're also not paying them anymore for
It's
that.
just, yes, it's
you
a
know.
less cost incurred.
Well, you'll remember, gentlemen, that it's
Depends.
under the sub-regional.
Yes, it depends how many advocates
Wish
for the
me
next couple of weeks.
the bestest of luck.
So it only took, what, 20 years to pay off the,
20
years to pay it off? I think 2012 is when the big vote was.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
earlier than that. It was
Yeah,
2003.
we're just gonna. All right, I'm gonna call the question then. All those in favor? Oh my God! This is the moment. Note it. He voted in favor. All those opposed?
I am opposed.
Would you like your opposed
I would
noted?
like my opposed.
I did vote in favor, and I'll tell you why I voted in favor.
Hell froze over?
No.
Yeah.
No,
Kind
because
of a same edition.
this is for our asset management program, which is a whole massive new thing that we're gonna have to deal with. I think we've done very well. I don't agree with the budget per se, but for $9, this is an extreme value for your money. That's what I'm going for.
I'm against tax increases as a principle, so.
I am also against tax increases as a principle. I might change my mind when we actually adopt this.
Right?
I'm
I'm gonna go home, sleep on it, have a mini panic attack, wish he never did it, and then try to amend it next time. It's fine, I think it's fine.
But the reality is, we have to balance, like Mr. Malkinson said, we have to balance the responsibility of keeping the village financially solvent and fixing those issues before they compound and become bigger issues, because we spent the last 4 years fixing stuff and getting stuff cleaned up and trying to get stuff streamlined.
Yeah.
And like, we were told right from the get-go when we took these seats, that we're gonna have to look at, you know, tax increases to get to where we are. Thankfully, you know, with the hard work of our staff, our tax increases haven't had to be to the extreme that we were looking at 4 years ago.
No.
We've been able to tone it back down and still stay
They
within
were
budget
really
and everything
good.
else, and thankfully we've got grants to cover stuff.
You guys are shocked.
It's, you know,
Like 4 years ago, when we sat in this room and it was
Almost had the
15, 10,
Yeah, it was.
10, and 7.
Which is
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars per house. This
Yes.
is $9 increase to, in my view, to offset the difference in the provincial budget, which the grants are drying up, all of those sorts of things. They put themselves in a mess.
Yeah.
It's $9 per house to make sure that we don't end up in that same mess.
well, that and the.
That's why I support it.
That and the diligent work staff started
Yeah,
finding
they
ways that we
work
can
really
save money or where to redirect money or going after grants so that we don't
Mr.
have to use it.
Curiota, he's done a ton of work with Miss McNair as well. It's been,
Moreover, he's, I get entertained by Mr. Curiota quite often, because he not only offers his good analysis and his expertise, but he also plays the role of the, you know, CFO quite well, where he'll, be very inclined to question costs. I think we can do
Yes.
that here. I think,
Yeah.
why is this necessary? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's an important voice to have in terms
he's
of-
a really good daddy to have with a credit card, because he will smack them down at times, he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
no,
Well,
go
that's the
back.
other thing we've saved money too with our approach to staffing as well.
Yeah, staffing
We've
is
buying
definitely-
positions and we've contracted positions.
Yeah.
And
Great.
this isn't exactly where I want it. I would like it to not have anything of an increase. However, for the situation we have, I think this is the best we're gonna get this year.
Councilor
Whenever
Wallace, I'm gonna
it
give
took-
you, the day the provincial government rolls out a balanced budget with no deficit,
I'll be dead.
I will vote, I will vote with you to not increase the taxes as in.
I'm with him, yep. They can do it. All right, moving on. 12.2, the council give the official community plan amendment bylaw number 1092-2026 be read for the first time, and further, that staff be directed to refer the incorporated regional context statement to the Peace River Regional District for consideration. Seconded by Councillor Rabble. Councillor Rabble?
This had come to us last meeting, or one of the most recent meetings. Anyways, this is because we need to amend our official community plan to include an amended regional statement. This came to us as a draft, we approved it then, now we're going to see what the feeling is, and then we're gonna send it off, and then it'll come back, right? So this is a part of the process.
That was very well done. Yes.
So thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous and carried. We are gonna jump back up to the minutes, gentlemen, because we were holding off for you, Councillor Johnston. I'd like to put the recommendation on the floor that this council adopts the minutes for February 11th, 2026, April 8th, 2026,
So we're just doing them all.
and
in a
April
row.
14th, 2026. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Whittle. Yes.
I was not in attendance for the April 14th meeting, and I'm listed as in attendance.
Was that?
Like,
Oh, yes, I was, that was expected.
I think we're on Feb 11, or are we on April 14th? Sorry.
We
No.
she read them all.
I read them all.
Okay.
I did them all at once. So we
Sorry
just
about
have to change.
Wait, I can't vote in favor of this then, because I wasn't here for that one.
So we'll make the correction as identified.
Yeah, but if you read them all,
Oh,
That's what's on the
You
floor.
can just, it's already, the motion's already on the floor.
Yeah,
just
motion's
run it.
already-
well, I'm voting opposed.
okay,
Oh, yeah, I
Councillor
guess it's not.
Rebel.
I was not present for the February 11th and the April 14th meetings, therefore I will be voting in opposition.
Okay, that's totally fine. Call the question then. All those.
Oh, if I may,
Oh,
Madam
yes.
Chair, I apologize.
Yeah.
I should have been more specific with my statement. April 14th has listed me as in attendance in these meeting minutes. Could I suggest that they be amended to put me as absent?
Yes, that was already recommended to our staff, and they will be making that correction.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed?
No, that counts, that counts.
I'm staying, I'm done.
This is why we need to go to digital voting,
Oh my goodness gracious.
Okay, would you both like your opposed noted?
No, because I had interpreted that as an amendment to the motion to List is absent. Oh
Councilor
my
Rabble
goodness.
is in favor of it.
Yeah, no.
No, I think my opposition knows. Oh
Do
my.
not start. All right,
It's
thank
the all
you.
three thing I got, sorry.
Okay, so we're gonna jump back down to administrative reports. There's none at this time. So moving on to item number 14, Councilor Johnston, what you been up to?
Besides our special meeting,
Tours.
Tours?
oh, and the tours, which was
Yeah.
awesome. Oh, I really enjoyed it.
So cool, hey?
Yeah. to see
That was
all.
really fun.
What an amazing building there. I can't wait to see it full of nurses and doctors.
Yeah, the new hospital, yeah.
Okay,
Other than that, I know.
wonderful. All right, moving on to Councilor Rabble.
Yeah, I also attended the 2 tours as well. One to the hospital, which is to open in the fall, and to the Northwinds Wellness Center here in Poos, that's to open in the fall as well. Positive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Possibly in the same, yeah.
I think it's like September for Northwinds, maybe October, November
Yeah.
for the hospital. The hospital is an investment in the future. However, I'm not a hospital planner, but there are definitely some oddities. But it's really it's a complex project. There are certain services I would have liked to see, but there are increases in existing services that are great. And I guess we can't get everything we want. But as always, I think that preventative care should be also a greater emphasized portion of healthcare. Then the other thing was, thank goodness the snow melts happened. The water has mostly exited the village. And thank you commends to staff and Public Works Department, Fire Department, and other folks for clearing that away, because now it's in the past. It's all nice and moved away now. And then I believe today I happened to see a yellow truck near the highway. And so I was going about my daily errands and almost got hit by a semi. So
Highway 17 times.
So I don't know.
You and everybody else.
I don't know if that was somebody just observing the intersection, but heck, I saw a lot of folks crossing that intersection. As always, I'm an advocate for improved pedestrian infrastructure. So, anyways, that's
It was a genuine near miss. I didn't even like.
somebody was trying to turn, and then the semi was trying to blow it, and then they suddenly stopped, and so I went through, and then the person.
They thought the car wasn't going to stop the truck.
It was.
You guys are the second people I talked
Yeah,
to today.
there was a.
I ran into one of the village
intersection.
staff members on Blake had an issue crossing that too today.
Yeah. Well, looks like
Car stop, truck almost didn't.
Looks like intersection safety improvements will be greatly needed.
But
at
think of the headline.
intersection.
You think of the headline and how much that would help our case for getting the stuff there? Local Pooskoopi councillor gets ran over at intersection. Village has been asking for blinky lights for decades.
It was a news story on last week.
There was actually an article related to this issue that was published recently.
Yes, I know, I saw it. Yeah.
So that,
Hopefully it helps.
I was credited as a photo person, but I was not quoted. So, anyways, there's that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Councilor Wall, what have you been up to?
Oh, I attended the tour of the hospital at Northwinds. Very, very impressed with the speed of work that's happening at both those facilities. A little bit concerned about the hospital. Couple concerns regarding. I know the idea is that we're going to get more staff. There was one number thrown around that we need 160 more nurses in the current hospital, and we currently have a 40 nurse shortage. If we're having such a hard time getting 40 nurses, I don't know how we're going to get 200 the day that hospital opens.
Remember, it's a new teaching hospital. So, and
200's a lot.
I know, but,
Councillor Wall, Field of Dreams, build it.
yeah, that's right.
That's the theory.
Right, keep saying.
200's a lot. But anyway, I'm happy to see where they're at, and I think it's going to be a state-of-the-art facility. Very, very happy. Both facilities will be state-of-the-art. Very happy with that. Also been having some conversations regarding Alberta changing their time to permanent mountain daylight time, which means that we will forever be stuck as being 1 hour behind Grand Prairie. And I don't know about you guys, but a lot of people, including myself, travel across the border all the time for work, for errands, go to Costco, doctor's appointments now that the provinces have worked out an agreement. People can get medical appointments again in Alberta, which I know that a few people in our community are doing. And the ease of access in the wintertime when we are in the same time compared to the summertime is quite nice. So I have a little bit of something I mashed together here that Mr. Malkinson was so kind to print out, outlining the economic factors and the social factors, both for the municipality, for industry, and for community cohesion, health, routine stability, all those sorts of things. So I have a recommendation, and that is that the village write a letter advocating to the Peace River Regional District for permanent mountain daylight time in the Peace region, just to start a conversation at the regional district level, and see how other communities are feeling about this.
Rather than, I know, I don't want it to get second yet. The reason is I just want to do a back and forth on the request to refine it a little bit more.
Sure.
Why don't we, rather than requesting that they sort of go out to a referendum and blah, blah, why don't we ask them to maybe join us in advocacy?
That's what I'm trying to do, a letter to start the conversation.
Okay, so, could we reword your recommendation, just, it kind of helps staff when it's really like filtered down.
Sure.
To write a letter, asking the PRRD to join our advocacy efforts to the province to move the northern region.
Oh, it's not up to the province, so.
We're allowed to set our own.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I totally thought it
village.
was up to.
No, it's municipal jurisdiction.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seriously? There is,
Oh.
in the recent shift that they had made, there was a combination paid for local governments to set their own.
I did not know
Can
that.
it be midnight?
1 minute ahead, guys.
Okay, so then, Mr.
It just
Malkinson,
needs a regional board vote, is all it
yeah,
is.
what would be the best way to engage the PRRD in this conversation without sending forward a formal request for them to do a huge, like, my thing is, if you go to them saying, I want you to hold a referendum, they're gonna say no.
No, I wanna know what, okay, so it's not where, that's not where I'm trying to go here.
Yeah, that's why I'm wanting us to filter it down a little bit.
I would like
I
them
don't
to
want it to
have
be
a
shot down.
conversation about it,
Yeah,
and so that everyone in the region can have a conversation about it, talk to their friends, talk to their whatever, because we're used to being in BC time half the year, and we're used to being Alberta time half the year.
We're getting into discussion on this without a seconder on the floor.
well, that's because there currently is no recommendation, and so he's still talking about what he wants, but
We're going into discussion though.
You just don't like it, you don't want.
No, I'm just
can
saying.
you
technically,
go,
we're
actually, can you do me a
discussion.
favor? Can you put it on the floor for discussion to reach out to the PRRD?
I'll make a motion to discussing going to the PRD.
Yeah, can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Rabble. All those in favor of discussion? All those opposed? Would you like your opposed noted?
No, it was an abstention.
He was in favor.
Yeah, he was in favor then. Okay, yes. So I'm just, yeah. Maybe are you looking to add some context to the conversation, maybe?
If I can. So we're at an interesting time. So the premier of this province has kind of blanketed out more than 30 days ago that we are going to go to Pacific time, which is not Mountain Standard Time. I think that's what we are on. Time zones are kind of confusing. Anyways, we're going to be on the same time as BC's for the first time in a long time, right? The regional district had a referendum in the 70s or 80s, which set it to, I think, Mountain Standard Time, if I'm not mistaken.
Align with Alberta.
To just stop changing time.
Stop changing time, but to
It was
align.
the
It is not to observe daylight savings time.
It was to not observe daylight savings time
Yes.
but to, instead of being Pacific time, which is the rest of BC, was Mountain Standard Time, so that they could coordinate agriculture and oil field services during the winter months.
So to further my point, we don't change time, but the other jurisdictions beside us keep doing daylight time. Everyone's now jumping on board to not do daylight time. BC's setting it to Pacific, Alberta's setting it to, I think, Mountain Standard. Anyways, they're gonna be an hour difference, and we're gonna end up somehow, as the forgotten child, somehow being on BC time. Recently in the Kootenays, their regional district, they voted to go to Alberta time, or no, to go to BC time, and then that was brought back by one of the regional directors to then have a recount and do more public consultation, right?
No, other way around. So
Anyways.
they're going, so the Kootenays are going Alberta time, so the
No, but
Kootenays-
originally they had a vote, my understanding is they had a board vote, my understanding, to go to BC time and overrid their previous time, right? to accept it. And then they had it revisited
Now that Alberta's not
because
changing
a member
times.
brought it forward at their board table to then go to Alberta time. Anyways, what I'm getting at is there's a moment right now where the regional district itself, because of the way that times are done, my understanding is because of the referendum to stay, not to daylight time, made them go with Mountain Standard Time. However, the province is saying they need to go with Pacific Time, which so happens to be the same hour. However, the regional district is in this interesting moment where they need to specify what time zone they follow. And so we have a moment and opportunity with this announcement to figure out where we're going to go going forward, because this dusty old book is getting revisited, okay? So I think we figure out where it goes. I do a lot of business with Alberta and I live up here. I'm not really conference calling to Victoria a heck of a lot. So, we've got to figure out our path going forward and give the public an opportunity to voice their concerns regarding it.
What if we wrote a letter to the PRD just stating, in light of the change in the Kootenays district, the village of Pouce Coupe is interested in looking into the conversation of us doing the same in the PRD for Alberta time. Like I want to start the conversation, but if you put a recommendation for them to go to a referendum, it will be voted down immediately.
No, it's not a referendum.
Yeah, so I'm trying to
People
find a
discuss
way.
it and see where we're at.
And the only other way to have the conversation happen is to go in as a delegation. That's like literally, yes.
So with this, I see where Councillor Wall's coming from, but I'm opposed to this because at the end of the day, our time hasn't changed since I think 70-something, right? With the East River Regional District had a referendum to not go surveillance in time and stay, right? We've always dealt with BC being for half the year an hour behind us, and Alberta for half the year an hour ahead of us, and really it makes no difference because we got people that go to Grand Prairie for medical kit and stuff. We got people that go to Prince George for it. So either way, you're losing an hour. Either way, there's an hour difference anyway you go, right? See, if we're all the same time as Prince George, then at least we're consistent. We're on the same time as our provincial government. We're on the same time as every other municipality in the province, right? And we deal more within our own province than what we do in Alberta. And for the guys, but the thing is that we got to look at what's best for the municipality, right, as well. And I've talked to multiple people that work on the Alberta side of the border, and they actually like that having that hour difference. Because when you get off work at 5 o'clock in Alberta, it's only 4 o'clock here, you still have time to get home and get stuff done, go hit up the bank, go hit up businesses that are still open. Where if we change it, if the regional district goes at the same time as Alberta, guys that work on the Alberta side are never going to get back in time to be able to hit up businesses or anything else on the BC time. And like I've worked oil and gas for years on the BC side and Alberta side, and I have to admit I really enjoy being able to get off work essentially an hour earlier because I drove across that border and be able to finish work in Grand Prairie or Spirit River or wherever, and still be able to drive back to Dawson Creek or Pouce Coupe to get to places while they're still open. So that's part of the reason why I'm opposed to it. Because it doesn't matter which way you slice it, there's going to be a time difference that we've got to deal with it. We've either got to deal with it permanently going down to Prince George and the rest of the province, which is going to affect, business for, everybody that deals within the province. And,
You're opposed to a conversation about it?
I'm opposed to wasting staff's time when we have bigger fish to fry in the grand scheme of things.
I think this might be one of the bigger
And I don't think that the time change for an area that doesn't ever change and hasn't changed in over 40 years, 50 years, I honestly do not think it's a good utilization of staff's time pursuing this. When we have bylaws that we need to review, we have plans that need to be reviewed, and we need to focus back in on house and focus on, we're not going after the shiny things, we're focusing on keeping our house solid, and I'm opposed to spending any staff on this issue.
Yes, Councillor Rupp.
I don't know if it would take staff time. We could go, if this is a board discussion at the regional district, through a representative to the regional district would be my understanding. Because this can of worms got knocked off the shelf, right? It's a dusty old can of worms that's been sitting on the shelf for 40, 50 years. And so what the Kootenays just went through was the board saying, sure, we're on this time, and unilaterally voting to do that, and then people were upset and they had to go through it. The province has forced our hand into this discussion, and I think it's fair to the public to have this discussion. Because technically, we do have to make a decision as to what time we're on, because we need to be in alignment for all kinds of legal reasons, right? And so we technically are going to change time zones legally from Mountain Standard Time to Pacific Time.
We're gonna either switch to
Because
Mountain
it's forced
Standard,
us.
from Mountain
The
Standard Time
clock-
to Pacific Time, or from legally, as the hour might not change, but if we don't make a decision on what time zone we're going into, we'll default to BC time. They're eliminating a time zone.
Mr. Malkinson, I'm interested in picking your brain on this topic.
Sure.
So,
My two brain cells, yes.
yes.
Oh,
I think that Councillor Whittle makes some great points when it comes to capacity and staff time.
Yep.
At this point in time, I also understand that Councillor Wall's really just looking to have an overarching conversation.
Right.
And so I'm torn between kind of giving Councillor Wall like everybody's phone number at the PRD and just saying phone them and have the conversation and see how it lands.
I've done that. They want, they want someone to approach them so that when the province looks at it, it's like, oh, it's two of us, not just one of us.
Okay, so then what would probably be, I'm just trying to think of a way to get the conversation up without us really directing anything to the PRD, right? That's where it gets difficult.
What are you thinking of?
You guys could apply, like, citizens, you guys could take it as a delegation to the regional, directly as regional district residents.
Any kind of new business, you know, that the directors have.
I think it'd make a positive impact.
Just raise it verbally if you wanted to. That's an option.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what,
This has been something that's been brought up by, you know, the Coast Council, you know, just.
I do like that, you're right, I could raise it as new business,
You know,
and I could bring the information that Councillor Wall if,
You do notice a motion for discussion. Yep. The regional district board.
Yeah, we're attending as a delegation, you know, that might work too.
why don't I do that? Why don't I bring it to the board as a notice of, like, as a discussion topic under new business? Then we can see how that flushes out, and if there's interest to look into it more, we could potentially look at, if you wanna go as a delegation on behalf of this council, that's a direction that we could give you as well.
I guess the other thing too is if it is gonna get pushed to a referendum, this is the year to do it.
Yeah.
Because the referendum costs a lot to do
A
a
lot,
referendum,
yeah.
but if you tag it on with a municipal election, which everything's slated for this year is a municipal election, it
So-
reduces the cost significantly.
So from the conversations that I've had to regional representatives is, it doesn't need to be a referendum. Like technically it could just be a board decision.
I'd be pissed as a resident, I'd be pissed if it didn't go to resolution, or didn't go to referendum. Changing people's time is something that needs to be a public discussion. It's not the province, they said, yeah, they're doing it, but they said, yeah, we're not changing. They didn't screw with our time zone. Our time zone did not change. We've stayed status quo.
Legally, our times are. But-
So,
So I did pull up a little bit while you folks were talking here. There is it's the Interpretation Act that was amended that basically says all of BC is now on Pacific time. That's the standard that's set via legislation. However, the provincial release that was put out about this says people in northeastern BC, Peace River region and the Northern Rocky Mountains who currently observe Mountain Standard Time UTC-7 year-round will continue to do so. In practice, this means that they will align with the rest of BC in the Pacific time zone, though they are not required to adopt that specific label. And there's just as they can today, local governments will retain the power to determine what time zone they observe. They can choose to shift it permanent daylight time and Pacific time along with the rest of BC if they prefer.
So I think Mr. Malkinson's correct. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this with me. So I'm first gonna I'm gonna contact the chair of the PRD, I'll phone him tomorrow. I'll get this on under new business, I'll have a conversation. My next meeting, I think is April 30th.
Should we make this a more formal document?
And you're more than welcome to. If you could make it easy for me to read on the fly, because I'm literally gonna be skimming it and speaking on it. Kind of a deal. No, next Thursday.
Okay, next Thursday. I was like,
You have until the 30th, and then from there, I'll bring you can watch it, and you can see how it goes.
Maybe this is not have to be brought forward first as a notice of motion, and then you put on the agenda for the following meeting.
No, so I think what I've seen happen in the past is that when they call for new business, as long as I've given a notice, heads up to the chair and the CAO, they do allow you to put it on. Yeah, that's my understanding so far. Okay, all right, well, I'm gonna move on to Councillor Woodall. What have you been up to?
So I attended the tours just like everybody else. So it was nice to see the facilities actually coming to fruition, like especially with Northlands, because we had an advocacy work for that years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to actually see that. It's also nice to see the hospital go from concept plans to the Field of Dreams. I call it Field of Dreams because it's built in the field, and they have dreams of having enough staff to run it. Like I wish them luck. I'm a bit of a pessimist.
When I said that, you said it's gonna bring new people, and
I was being sarcastic. Go back and look at the video.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was a good tour. It was actually good to touch base with council too, outside of the chambers, right? And be able to have some discussions about the community in general without any strings attached to them, stuff like that. So it was really nice. We also had members of staff come up to look at the facility, as well as members of the fire department as well. So, what else have I been up to?
And then the special meeting.
Yeah, attended the special meeting. I actually had the opportunity here the other day to check out one of the new local businesses in town. I had the opportunity to go over to Peace Energy Lines there, and we get their kitchen up and running and open to the public, and had lunch last weekend with my family, and actually the food is really, really good.
Yeah.
And as their menu expands, I'm getting a little more excited. So yeah, it's nice to have that back in town and get some more business back in town. Then other than that, that's about it, I think.
I think you want to pass a motion to go past 10 p.m.
No, I don't. And yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I'd like to make the recommendation that council go past 10 p.m. I get a seconder. You guys do.
I'll do it.
Okay.
You don't get to say your report.
I know. Well, it's more the
Shut
closed
it
meeting
down.
that I'm a bit worried about. All those in favor? Unanimous. And Carrie, are you opposed? Yeah.
No.
All right. Okay, I'm going to try to go through mine really, really fast. Yes, I would like to thank Northern Health and the Graham crew at the Dawson Creek District Hospital Build for allowing us to do the tour. Huge thank you to all the staff who arranged for us to have the tour. It was a super awesome day. Same with Northwinds. Huge shout out to the Northwinds crew and Synergy, as well as all of our staff who made it to the Northwinds tour. I'm very excited for these two facilities to open. We then attended the special meeting to approve the 2026 financial plan. So thank you for members of council who were able to make it, and those who tried to make it but ran out of time. So thank you for trying and rushing. But huge shout out to everybody who was available. I also attended the Northern Lights College Rodeo send-off last week. That was really, really great. One of our Northern Lights College Rodeo guys is #1 world class. He's the first in the world.
The world.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. So he's kicking butt for bull riding. So he's really super representing the northern area, which I'm super stoked about. I then attended the Peace River Regional District Board meeting. Not a lot, just a lot of housekeeping stuff. I really don't have much to report on that one. I just double checked the agenda and yeah, there really wasn't a lot going on. I then did my usual meetups with staff, bugging Mr. Malkinson, making sure everything was on board. Myself and Mr. Malkinson today attended the mayors and chairs meeting with the province regarding emergency measures. And I was so excited when the map of Canada came up and everything was yellow instead of red, and then Mr. Malkinson pointed to the corner and said, no, this really dark red spot is actually us, and then I was sad. Geography is not my thing.
Projected to be a very warm summer.
It's projected to be a very warm summer for fire season.
At least we had a very wet winter.
I was hoping it would be yellow, not red, but it's bright red.
Well,
still.
it's water penetration to the ground, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, a lot of the ground's been hydrophobic, so the water hasn't actually penetrated the ground, it's just running the surface.
Two things that are coming up in the month of May that I would like to make council aware of. One is the Poughkeepsie Fire Prevention Week starts next week.
First week of May.
First week of May.
5th, we're doing a barbecue.
Yeah, so there is a barbecue event happening at the fire hall, so please come on down, learn about some fire prevention, and support our local volunteer firefighters.
Mayor Beach, it's not just fire prevention, it's emergency preparedness as well.
Oh, perfect.
So, the regional district, I understand, is gonna have representatives there talking about Northeast BC alerts, which is really important for people to sign up for,
Yes.
especially, for like stuff like Old Fort that just happened.
Yeah,
That's one of the programs
definitely.
that's used to notify people of alerts. And I do believe the invitation was extended out to search and rescue, Tom's Lake Fire,
Yeah.
and a few other emergency response agencies within the area.
So I'm hoping to see some members of council there. Come on out. We're also going to be doing a bit of a social media run, which I spoke with Mr. Malkinson about for the month of May as well, just continuously covering the, hey, if you don't already have the alert system app downloaded, check it out. Talking about go kits, what our different emergency measures mean for the community, just really getting that preparedness out.
Oh, and Kelly's supplying the barbecue.
I'm definitely going for sure then. I'd also like to highlight that the museum grand opening is also happening in May. So be aware of that. Go on to the museum social media.
Donate to the garage sale if you want.
Donate to the garage sale. Come eat some delicious pancakes on their pancake breakfast day. All the money goes to our Pouskapee Museum and our wonderful team there. So just a reminder to keep those out and in your calendars.
There's one more thing, Worship, you have a wheelchair challenge taking place Wednesday next week.
Thank you. Yes, we have the wheelchair challenge
Oh,
happening
yeah,
on
I got it
Wednesday.
in that day with me. We won't hear the end of it. Nope, I don't have to go to that.
Yeah, you better go. You'll be in big
Oh, what day is
trouble.
it?
Wednesday next week.
Next
Oh, I won't be able to go.
Why?
Well, I'm getting all 4 of my wisdom teeth taken out, and they have to.
You'll need a wheelchair.
They mess with my nerve. Well, you're already gonna be in a
It's
wheelchair,
already
so
in
they're.
your wheelchair.
I'll push you around.
Oh, I was gonna say, I volunteer to push you into traffic.
Maybe out there cruising.
We got you.
If you're not feeling it.
I'm not
Justification
supposed to
for the
do any
crosswalk.
physical activity for 7
No
days.
physical, you'll be sitting in a wheelchair. We got
Yeah,
you.
Isn't
We'll
that
push
physical?
you.
We'll push you into traffic, it's okay, so we can get our blinky light.
You'll get a beautiful picture of me with blood all over my face.
These guys don't like code of conduct.
And the medication that's being on apparently I won't be able to feel much at all. So I won't even know if I
Fun time. All right. Well, if you can make it, that'd be wonderful. If not, I understand. I hope you
A
can
lot of
go.
cast, yeah.
get. Mr. Malkinson was right though, this is why I think the provincial code of conduct is done.
So, moving on. I'd like to make the recommendation that pursuant to section 346 and 349 of the Local Government Act, that the Council of the Village of Pouskapee hereby consents to the adoption of the Regional Parks Conversion and Service Establishment Bylaw, number 2601/2026. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Whittle. Discussion? Councilor Rattle?
I appreciate that, the folks,
Yeah.
that they've come in and spoken to us, and you know what? I understand where they're coming from, and they're just trying to modernize it. So I really appreciate that, and commendations, thanks for that.
Questions were good too. It's good to confirm that the mass requisition isn't changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that Poos Park is not impacted by this, even though it's an exclave of our community.
Thank you. I'm going to call the question, and all those in favor? And that's unanimous and carried.
You got 2 more pages of this?
No? How was this candy fan? That's not a fan. It's a liar.
I don't know.
Did you buy yourself a candy fan?
There may not be one on the desk, yeah.
All right, I'd like to also make the recommendation that council approve the draft 2026 financial statements as presented, 2025 financial statements as presented from Eclipse LLP. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Whittle. Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous and carried. Killing it, Duncan. Killing it. All right. That's me. That's what I've been up to. Super, super busy. I'm also attending the Northern Trails at AGM thing.
Thank you. Where are you, man?
I am, on Friday. Yes, I am going to be there representing. It's at a new space exhibit that Dawson Creek has.
Space exhibit.
A space exhibit.
Like about outer space?
Yeah.
Artemis too.
Yeah. Like outer space
Where's
exhibit.
this?
It's in the old Fort Motors. I'm super stoked. I'm taking my kids for sure. Like this summer, they love space. I will take pictures and send it to you guys so that you.
Thank you.
I'll do them just far enough away where you have to go in to see, to really get what you're looking at. I might even smudge the camera a little so I intrigue you. Yeah, it's all about supporting local, guys.
I've seen the moon before.
No, shush. All right, so
You said from far away. I thought from
question,
further.
question period, nobody's here. So I make the recommendation that we recess into camera, as per section 91B and 91C of the community charter. Can I get a seconder?
Let's talk about me.
91B is personal information about
Oh.
identifiable individuals. Seconded by Councillor Johnston. All right? Do it. That was really loud, I'm so sorry. Oh, all those in favor? Thank you, sorry.
Now you can get your.
I was really excited to type the anything.